Hello and welcome in, everybody, to Caster Off the Air. This is the kind of after Caster behind-the-scenes show we're going to be doing every single week to give you an inside look at some of the things that we couldn't show you during this week's episode of the Caster. For week one, it was an awesome debut. Do have to apologize for those sound issues. That's only in this episode. We got everything ironed out, just some tech issues. I'm sure the rest of the episodes are going to be a blast as well. And for the first episode, we had to bring on some big-name guests, and I'm joined here on the set by Hindu, one of the judges, and the rap god himself, John Younglink Finch. Guys, what'd you think? I mean, the first episode of the Caster, what was it like watching it?
It's very weird to see yourself on there casting, to see Twitch chat live talking about it, but it looked great. It came out awesome. Everyone did a great job.
Hindu.
It looked weird.
Someone worked really hard on that.
It looked weird. Sorry.
Hindu's just that savage in real life. That's just how it is, yeah.
Oh, I found out so far I'm racist.
Yes.
Okay.
Number one.
Can confirm.
Number
Sure.
two, rigged. Episode one went well.
Well, duh, yeah, of course. I mean, we rig everything
Good times.
here at High Res. Yeah, it was an absolute blast to watch for sure. And we have another guest.
I will not stand for the disrespect.
It's too late. Pretty
You're right. You know what? If that was a smite hammer, no way Hindu does that. But
would've.
Fernando's gun, yeah,
would've
sacred.
changed. It would've
Anyways, Nick, Pretty Hair, Keo. This was a lot of fun though, guys. And what was it like being a judge, Hindu? I gotta ask you.
Well, me, Golden Boy, and Kelly all were like very surreal day one because we're using what we know to talk about these people. We're going to be interested to see how our peers, our other casters, would see this show, and it was a lot of pressure in a weird way because it was fun and games, but at the same time we were really trying to take it seriously. So that show does not show how much deliberation we went into whatsoever in trying to get to that moment of who was going home, the first going home before we even found out there was a second one. So there was a lot of problems with that, as well as we watched every single game all the way through. Those guys casted the whole game. We watched every single moment of it. The games we saw there, it's not the whole game. It's not the whole experience we had. So call it rigged, that's fine, you know. But at the same time, there was more to it than what you just saw.
Sure. And John, I mean, what was that experience like for you? Because you apply, there's thousands of applicants, just kind of, I'll throw my name in there and see what happens. And then you find yourself actually in that final 10. What was this first moment with your other contestants like?
It was awesome, really. Just like you said, I sent in the submission video. Apparently, Hindu hates it, but I still get to make it to awesome. But it's so cool when you get there. You're around all these people that love the game as much as you do, who are all really excellent communicators, and you're going out there trying to see who's the best. So it was an awesome experience, but it was also very stressful, because you look up to Hindu Man, Golden Boy, and Kelly, and having them up there be very critical, it is kind of hard, but it was also a lot of fun. I loved it.
What was John's submission video like? Do you remember?
Oh no!
So
please.
John's original video. So I had to go through every single video that was sent in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some for you guys at home for the after shows.
Oh boy!
To show some
Trust
of the
me,
best
you're gonna want to
ones,
see those. There were some phenomenal ones.
There were some really good videos. I'm going to go through them. John specifically did speak, and his commentary was pretty good too. Obviously, the rap god that's been mentioned already, that was in there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a rap god too, so
Sure.
I can appreciate a little bit of fast speech when required. It was definitely fun and entertaining, that's for sure.
Well, it was fun to watch you on the first episode for sure. And let's get right into it. The mini challenge. Were you expecting to be challenged right off the bat like that?
No, I mean, it's like we get there, we're in a park, we're like, well, what are we doing? That's kind of why a lot of us weren't as dressed up as we would be later on. We're walking around the park, so we leave our jackets or something, and we get out there, and it's like, well, who's ready to go at any given moment, and that's who won the challenge. So none of us were expecting it. No.
Did we give them any sort of heads up?
No, listen.
Good.
When you come to work at High Res, 1 minute you're here, and the next minute you're on air. There's very little downtime, and
More or less.
be ready to go. Pretty much. Look at me, I'm dressed to the nines all the time.
Oh yeah.
As always. Well,
Ready
let's
to go.
start. Let's start with someone who didn't perform super well in that challenge, Shadow Boy. We can take a look and see exactly what his outfit was. As a reminder, this is there were some people, you could see Patrick there in the background. Everyone liked the top half, the shoes maybe not so much. Shadow Boy seemed to be the most casual. Him and Ron were the two that were pretty casual.
Fairness to Shadow Boy, though, right? That is esports after work.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? When we get off air, we're going to the after party, which doesn't always happen. But High Res Expo after party, make sure you get tickets
Buy your
for
tickets,
that.
yeah.
Buy your tickets for that.
Early bird special.
Still start
HighResExpo.com.
25% off right now. Go get them. But if you go to the after party, that's kind of the sort of thing we wear there. So
Sure.
he's been around the scene for a while. He maybe didn't expect it, but, turn up ready to work.
When you're having everyone else go up there, John, we didn't get a chance to see what Nick and F. Dot were saying about your particular outfit, but we saw some of the other contestants. Were you every time someone's getting told that it wasn't good enough, were you just like, yes, get angrier at them and love me a little bit more?
That's almost exactly how I felt because in honor of the first episode, I wore the same shirt that I wore.
Yeah.
This
I was
first
just
day.
thinking that today.
But
No Savage jersey for you, Hindu?
I was going to wear it again, but after I burned it after the episode, I'm not allowed to wear it again.
Good. Yeah, that's a good thing.
That was my baseball team's uniform too. I'm so
You're not
sorry.
on a baseball team.
They
Don't
were
lie
called
to
the
everyone.
Savages.
No, there's no baseball team called the Savages.
I'm gonna
It's
make
his team.
one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
John,
one.
don't no. The judging's already over. You can't.
Oh, he can't help me now, right?
He can't help you now. There's no reason to be doing that. Yeah, Supersonic Blur was the one that ended up winning this challenge. And look, I think there was a little bit of bias
No,
involved
whoa.
here.
Well, wait. He shouldn't have won.
Who do you think should have won?
Not him,
Why?
because he wore a bow tie.
Are you mad that he
Yes!
stole your look?
Yeah, he's lucky Nick was on the show. Look, it was Pretty Hair that did that. Otherwise, I'd have been kicked him straight. I've got the same bow tie. He just robbed my pretty much my
Yeah, he
outfit.
kinda stole your-
He tried to
stole
steal my
your jam,
gimmick
yeah.
and get away with it, and he did. And I was angry.
I think the only reason he won is because he had the long hair.
For me,
and
should
it
have been
just matched up with pretty hair.
should have been Ron Jobbett because that green jacket
Oh,
follows
come on.
him like a bad cold. It's great. It's everywhere.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, if you were to go on a broadcast, you'd want him wearing the Jaguars rain jacket.
I have casted with people wearing much worse things before.
Well, that sounds more like a personal problem to me. So the mini challenge goes John's way, and John, he picks you, the John duo. Were you surprised at all whenever he got to choose his duo partner and selected you?
I was surprised that he got to pick his partner, but not surprised that he picked me because we did kind of work together. We actually roomed together. So we did like a practice cast just kind of in the hotel room to try and warm up. I'd never casted before, so it was nice to cast with another person.
You never casted before.
No, not at all. Nothing.
Not at all.
There's actually a few of them on that show, that episode, that was their first time casting.
Yeah.
So
Unexceptional.
you saw So if you saw a contest for $10,000
Mm-hmm.
for the construction worker, would you just be like, "Yeah, I think I could do that. I've never done construction work before, but yeah, I could do that."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. No, I was really confident because I did debate, I did theater. I have a lot of speech background, a lot of communication background.
Yeah, of course.
And rapping.
Yeah, and of course my rap career. Yeah, also
Still taking off.
When's the
Yeah.
album out, by the way?
It's coming out soon. Follow me at Real Young Link on Twitter, and so you know when it
Good
comes
plug.
out. Just plug myself real quick.
plug
Yeah,
him.
smart. It's already learned.
It's learning quick.
Yeah, but I was really excited about doing it. You know, a lot of the times I just watch the broadcast back and just mute Hindu because nothing is coming from that. You know, and then just do my own cast over it maybe. But that's kind of what I would do.
This guy.
The nerve of this guy. He learns that it's too late now, and so he just decides to
Yeah.
throw all caution to the wind. So going into that main challenge, you knew your partner, and everyone thought that they knew their partner,
Yeah.
but then you decided to throw things for a bit of a loop.
So the only reason I did that is because they all drew names out of a hat for who they're going to work with. Obviously, Supersonic Blur had the advantage of choosing his partner. He chose his roommate, John.
Sure.
And then I was watching them all practice, and they were all very excited and way too happy about it. And I'm like, no,
Got to ruin it.
working at high res isn't always about happiness. Working commentary isn't always about happiness
Dude,
and
it's
joy.
all happiness.
No.
I don't know if it
So-
comes across on the show. It's not a joke. It's not a bit. He literally just decides randomly to
did.
shake
No,
it
I
up,
did.
just of his own volition.
I did.
That's what happened.
And the producer, Brad, didn't know about it either. I just went in there with a box and went, you know what, we're redrawing these. And yeah, I think it worked out better because we did that, because everyone was just too sweet and nice.
I loved the shot of Rabies who's in the confessional. He's in the middle of it, and you're like, "Yeah, I switched everything," and he's just like, "What?
I don't
You can
think,
do that?"
I don't think there could have been anyone else better to do it to, just because of Raby's reaction that we got. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone else would have been as good of a reaction to that as what happened.
It was hilarious.
It was really good. So how long did you guys have to practice before Hindu decided to switch it up?
We practiced for like a while. Maybe I want to say like 2 or 3 hours. Like it was to the point where people stopped practicing because they wanted to have something fresh left to do on the show. You know, it's like, well, we've got it down. No more curveballs could possibly come our way.
Now, they did also say in that episode, too, that they didn't get a chance to practice after I drew their names. Because the moment we drew their names out of the hat, again, I made them split
Yep.
into different rooms. so they weren't allowed to practice at all. So when you watch that back again for your second take of that episode, you'll find out that every single one of them was actually working out on air who was doing what and who was good at what, because they didn't get a chance to work together. And sometimes that happens where you cast with a commentator you've not worked with before.
That was it. Certainly just added another layer to that sort of thing. And John, talk me through that first cast sort of jitters, right? I mean, if you've never casted before and now you're doing it on this kind of stage, what were you feeling?
I was very nervous, but I was also really excited. It was something that I felt like I could do and I wanted to show people, but I do speak that fast, but it was even faster because of just how nervous I was. So that's probably a good bit of where that rap god came from, I'd say.
Well, if you want to see your favorite pairing from the little clips that you have, we will be posting all of everyone's cast in its entirety.
Awesome.
Make sure you stay tuned to our official Twitter account, Smite Game, Paladins Game, et al. That we'll be posting there.
Follow any of that.
Follow it. See, you already messing
That's
up,
going to
John.
haunt your career forever, if you have one.
Rookie mistake, John. So you go through all those cast. Those are not short games, by the way.
No.
That was a 40-something minute game?
They all casted the same game. It was hang on, I'm doing a Shadow Boy. It's Dig versus had to throw that one out there. But yeah, it was a pretty long game. It's about 30 minutes a game. We did cut, cut certain moments of the game for you to speed it over, but it was a majority of the game. They all casted exactly the same amount. They all had the same game, so it was very equal in terms of how long they had to cast a game.
So you saw the same game over and over and over again.
It was like watching season 3 all over again.
So the same game over and over and over
Season
again.
3.
And then you've got all these different commentators who are all having, we saw some of the clips there. There were some really good moments for some of these casters and then some struggles. Was it pretty consistent, the areas that everyone was struggling in, or did it seem like the contestants all had their own individual weaknesses?
Just like any caster who actually does the job on a day-to-day, you're all going to have issues different to each other as well. Bear with me. Oh, I've been talking a lot today.
Yeah, you have. Patch notes than this. We're really putting you through the ring.
2 things. Woo! it's less than patch notes, so DreamHack anyway. But yeah, I mean, every caster always has issues. Some with word choices, some with speech problems, some with decisions of how fast to speak, when to throw. Everyone has their own issue. You've got to judge each one individually and potentially roll it all into the whole package too. So you always saw something different with every single one of these casters.
Well, it was. It must have been a difficult choice to decide who you're going to send home.
Yeah.
What was it easy picking the winner? Let's start with the good side. Merlot and Gabby, do you feel like they were the clear favorites, or did you maybe disagree and the other two were the ones who voted for them?
Honestly, I don't think any decision ever really went through straight away with like 100% of us all agreeing it, especially on the first episode. That was for sure. Like the first episode, we were very ums and ahs about who we liked and who we didn't like and who did well and who didn't. There was ones that definitely stood out more obviously than others because people went home and people were made victors. I think Merlot and Gabby did a good job of making the game entertaining was the key there. Even though when you look at the audio back, we mentioned the audio issues earlier on. Like Gabby doesn't sound like that the whole time as well. It's not as high pitched. It may have come across there. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, my ears are bleeding." It's not like that. Trust me, if it was, they wouldn't have come first. And Merlot, we showed some of his exciting moments.
I love it.
His really out there things. He was wetting bullets at times.
Oh yeah, that's what I hear. At least.
I don't know. That's just Merlot. Though,
That's just Merlot. It really is. John, this is the first time that you got a chance to see any of these casts, right? Because you, as a contestant, we didn't let everyone to sit there and listen to everyone else. You were completely isolated. What were your first impressions just watching the episode right now?
It was crazy getting to see everybody's casting. I thought that. It was very surprising. Everyone kind of had some very first cast jitters there, so it's real surprising to watch it back. But I do agree that I thought Merlot and Gabby did a good job. I was a little surprised. I thought Freight did better than than I would have expected, just based on what I'd heard about it. But I know he can have some problems talking over people, so I get it. But I thought he did good. I was very surprised watching him back.
Well, the first eliminated candidate was Shadow Boy. Yeah. Let's take a little refresher course. Let's take a listen to why Shadow Boy got eliminated.
We've got Zyos in the, looks like AD carry role actually in the middle lane as Kronos. We also have Arkel in the AD carry role as Kernos, Trickstank in the support role as Amaterasu, and Variety in the soul lane as Kabrakan.
Kernos just getting out of the
comes out, and they're actually wanting to try and aggress just a little bit more, but not strong enough to actually dive tower this early on. However, over in the soul lane, but I really respect the decision to go ahead and pop the ultimate. I don't actually have the vision on it just yet, but I believe that Beads was down. No, he's actually still up for the Rama. So they wanted to try and pick off the beads and then give the jungler the opportunity to come over to the duo lane and pull something off there. Going over to the solo lane side, we've seen both parties actually have favor, and actually Defender of Olympus is going to come out. Osiris ultimate as well. They're really trying to put this Cabrakan into a bad spot, and they are able to pick up that kill over on the right side of the map. Team Dignitas losing someone there. Obey going up another kill. And now you see a lot of ultimates coming out here as one team trying to back away, the other team trying to engage. You see a little bit of a response coming out from Team Dignitas, who was initially engaged upon, and now they're able to pick up 2 kills for themselves. Team Dignitas looking very strong here. And then on top of that, he's in summer stance almost 24/7. And actually right now he's in fall stance to try and mitigate.
Hi, my name is Major Cosby. I am 23 years old and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. Just graduated from school, and my biggest accomplishment was the very first time that I actually was flown out for a LAN event. It was for Iron Gaming in Smite back in like 2013, 2014, I guess. I'd like to actually be a commentator or some kind of entertainer as I go forward. Casting at HRX it would probably be pretty amazing. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where you always look towards the stage and say, I'm gonna do that one day, and then it actually happens. It would be a monumental moment, at least in my aspect of working with Hi-Rez or playing Hi-Rez games, to have come all the way from, you know, just being a fan of the game and just playing a lot to, holy crap, I'm standing on the stage.
All of y'all can get it off my back, because I carry. I carry. Yeah, thanks for the carry, man.
As you mentioned during this segment, during the actual broadcast, you were kind of expecting more from Shadowboy, and personally, I was as well. I mean, this is a guy who's been around the scene for a little bit of time. He's grinded his teeth a little bit, and that is not the Shadowboy that I've heard before.
In a casting competition where you're going to have people who are rookies who've never casted the game before, people who specialize in Paladins and FPS game, people who haven't casted any of Hi-Rez titles before, and then people who've casted Smite before, you're going to judge each one slightly different based off their backgrounds and knowledge. Shadowboy's been around Smite for a long, long time. And that's one of his issues that he ran into here. Honestly, like, I expected so much from him.
I mean, that absolutely can be an advantage to be familiar with Smite, the community, the pro scene. That's such an advantage to have. But in this sort of situation, it actually ends up working against Shadowboy and causing you guys to judge him a little bit more harshly. John, what were your reactions whenever you heard that Shadowboy was the first out?
I was very surprised. Shadowboy, when I just spoke with him, he was very eloquent. He clearly knew the game. And I was a little intimidated, really. He had, like you said, a lot of experience. So I couldn't believe when I heard he went home first, really. I kind of thought it was going to be Merlot, to be honest.
I mean, we here at Hi-Rez, we were looking at the submission videos, and we were all kind of joking about who we thought would win. Shadowboy was kind of a favorite in the clubhouse to at least go far.
Major Cosby. I mean, a name like Major Cosby because of Shadowboy. If you notice, he's changed it since, but yeah.
Does he go by Major now?
He goes as by Major.
Yeah, that's probably a solid choice.
The right call.
Yeah.
I mean, Shadowboy, for me, he was just very disappointing, and he knows this himself because all he had to do, he should be watching Smite. If he knows he's coming on the show, he knows Smite, stay up to date.
Sure.
It's not rocket science. Stay up to date. Didn't know the player names multiple times, didn't know the team names.
And those aren't new players to the scene.
And I even asked him, like, on the show, you heard me say, like, who was playing this character? Who was playing this character? He just didn't know.
Right.
And that's a baseline of like, hey, if that's your game, you should know these things.
Absolutely. Well, Shadowboy, the first one out.
Absolutely. Don't you start.
I'm just absorbing it. I'm gonna start using Robin adopts you. I'm gonna steal that one too.
ShamWow.
ShamWow. Absolutely. Sick 'em. Why not?
Sick 'em, boys.
That's it. I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of new phrases, and I'm sure everyone will absolutely love them. So next up, you thought that was it. I mean, you thought that was completely done. Shadowboy's gone.
Yeah.
We move on to the next episode. But there was a surprise elimination. What was your reaction whenever Tom said that you had to eliminate another?
I wasn't happy because like we had to deliberate for so long to decide on Shadowboy being the one going off this episode, and then there was a second one, and we'd already put certain people through, didn't realize that the others really mattered to us, but it was basically like we had a lower selection left as well of who to choose from. It's like, well, I don't know what to do with this one.
You have to eliminate 20% of the contestants day
in
one.
a single episode.
Tough stuff.
I expected it would happen eventually, but not day one.
No. Well, day one is when it happened. It ended up being Freight Train being that secondary elimination. Let's take a listen and see his cast and what led to him getting eliminated.
Team Dignitas headed over the Gold Fury, trying to make something happen, but it will be a contested.
Well, Archeo goes for the Gold Fury. I mean, attempts with no lifesteal, really can't take that up by himself.
We have both teams are going to start contesting.
They gotta get the Gold Fury. Yeah, I mean, Dignitas, they went right back to it, and Obey just didn't have an answer for it.
Absolutely, and you know what? The Portal Demon, They're down 5v4. This is the name of the game. Get your advantage and then push it. Once they get that Portal Demon, they back for free, and it's right to the fire.
Well, we keep talking about Portal, and they never really engage on it. And all of a sudden, actually, the Portal Demon did get taken at some point. It looks like it is down.
It is down. That's right.
I didn't hear the audio cue. I don't know who got it, but either way, I'm going to imagine Dig or Obey had to have gotten something. I hope.
The first person level 20 still. Just now we saw Arama catch up and
there's Pretty Prime. He'll hit level 20 as well. Portal Demon did get taken by Dignitas.
I was figured they'd be playing a lot more aggressive.
Well, with the early draft, you asked me who has the. I thought honestly, Obey should have had that early pressure. They should have been able to use the Robin a better. The Hunter for the Obey falls down, and this could spell trouble as the Just call me a doctor, man. I need some help. These boys are trouble. They just got wiped right there. I mean, Pretty Prime makes an attempt, but what can you do?
Hey, they need more than some help, brother. 16-4. They have the Fire Giant, and I actually just ran off, but that's going to be the game. Pure domination in favor of Dignitas.
Absolutely. Dignitas really showed up in that in the draft.
My name's Thomas Fredo. That is my real name, and my IGN is Freight Train. And I got that from actually joining the military, and obviously with my last name being Fredo, it was very easy to go ahead and say, hey, Freight, and then we played football and just kind of turned into Freight Train, and from there on out, that was the name that stuck. I went to school for entrepreneurship. I want to do something in esports. Like, I want to do business development. I love esports, and I just always felt like I grew up in the wrong decade. Being here has been a completely different experience as far as what these guys like. I was blown away, and I understand why a lot of people didn't get selected. So if you're one of the people that didn't get selected, seriously, there's some amazing people out here that can do an amazing job. So don't be upset at Hindu, or don't be upset at anybody if you didn't get picked. These people are amazing. You guys at Hi-Rez, every single person from the back-end production people to the host to the judges, every single Hi-Rez employee here this is an amazing place. And you guys actually just do so much behind the scenes that I don't think people realize for the players' benefits, that like, I felt like royalty here, and it was just like the fact that you have that feeling. It's wow. I mean, and it's shout outs to you guys for being able to do that, and that just makes me want to support the game. And that's the love and the passion there, because like I know the game, and you guys do get back that aspect, and you do listen and you do care, and I mean it is genuine, and like I said, so really the last shout out is to you guys for hosting this together. I hope there's a season 2. I hope I'm able to come back better, stronger, so on and so forth. Blah 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 blah. But really, you guys at Hi-Rez kick ass, and this was an amazing event, and I made some friends for life.
Another Smite community member goes out. And as you mentioned, there's so many people who have never casted a Hi-Rez game before, let alone Smite specifically, or Paladins, or Hand of the Gods, whatever it may be. And you lose 2 people who have been casting Smite for a long time. Another aspect where it's just that Freight Train's inherent knowledge ends up working against him in this scenario?
And it's more to do with his knowledge of actually casting. My voice is dead. It's more to do with actually knowledge of the casting than anything, because he should realize what was the biggest problem for him. And Golden Boy was the one that was really, really upset about it. I joined him in that because I agreed. He took moments of a cast that's there for the person who is the man that's there to hype. Rabies was the one there to hype.
Sure.
And it wasn't hyped, it was just left to a lull. The one thing about this show, though, that I do want to mention as well, is that this show is about giving these guys a shot. We want to find a winner. We do want to find a winner after all, but it's giving these guys a shot, giving them a chance to learn, giving them guys a chance to actually look at themselves, get insight into what it's like to be us, and also at the same time make them improve in the future. So even though we did lose Freight and Shadow Boy, I don't expect, like I said to them, I don't expect it to be the last time we see them.
No.
They work on their issues, they move forward, and we will see them again.
I mean, being in the top 10 out of thousands of submissions is still something to be proud of, no doubt. And as you mentioned, they've got a lot of track record. They've got a good resume. Just a matter of taking the things that you and Golden Boy and Kelly told them, kind of applying that in the future. John, I wanted to ask you about this because you were telling me before the show that you had no idea that they were going to be eliminating 2 people and still didn't know until both Shadow Boy and Freight Train walked in and told you they were gone.
That's exactly right. We're kind of off, like in the, I guess, like the green room or whatever, waiting for everyone to come back who's going to get eliminated, and they walk through and they go, well, actually, it's both of us are out. So it was a huge surprise. It was fortunate for us. They're they're strong competitors. Mm-hmm. So it improved our odds, but it was also very sad, because they're great guys. You didn't want to lose them.
Yeah, they were certainly part of the squad, and
Yeah.
losing 2 people that early on. What were your thoughts after that entire episode? Not only being safe and not being eliminated, but those 2 specifically being eliminated, and your chances that you felt moving forward.
Yeah, after those 2 were eliminated, I was very, very confident at that point. I'd gotten a chance to get my feet wet. 2 of the people that I thought were the strongest were gone, so I felt very confident from that point. But the main thing I felt was that I had no idea what was going to happen, because clearly they were just going to do whatever they felt like at any point. We might not even be casting anymore. Who knew? So I stopped trying to guess at that point.
We should have done. You know what we should have done as a mini challenge was some sort of mini spring fling where we just throw condiments on them and see how they take it.
And make them eat it.
Yeah, that would have been. The real
Everyone
challenge.
would have loved that.
I would have loved it
Viewers,
too.
us, it would have been a
Just
huge
because it
hit.
would have been me eating it this time.
Exactly. For once, you're not the one who has to do that. Hindu, before we go, we're wrapping up here at the Caster Off the Air. What was your biggest takeaway from week number 1, your first episode of the Caster?
More than anything, it was surprised by how big this really got. Honestly, like we expected to be, we tried to make it something big, and it really felt like me, Golden Boy, and Kelly. Honestly, we sat behind the scenes like, wow, this could really be something cool here, because all of us had the same feeling about these guys and the people that we saw on the show. Like, they all had ability. This could be something that could really like make or break them in the future, and hopefully we get to see them all go on and have wonderful careers.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining me. John, thanks for coming in, and Hindu, you were going to be here anyways, so we really don't have to worry about that. That's it for this week's episode of Caster Off the Air. As I mentioned, we are going to be posting all the individual casts of your favorite pairing. You can find those. I think tomorrow we're going to start to post those. Just stay tuned to our official Twitter accounts, Smite Game, Paladins Game, and the such, in order to find out when and where we post those. That's it for week 1 of the Caster, but we're going to leave you with a little bit of a taste of what's coming up in week 2.
We are?
Things don't always go right in live broadcasting, and you just got to get used to it.
3, 2, 1, you're live.
Here we go.
Some of it was a train wreck.
Let's get down for esports!
Maybe I've overdone it a little bit.
Hello, everyone. It is my
Get ready, taking camera
it is my
1,
privilege and honor.
taking camera 2.
I definitely fucked up a lot of it.
Getting the shots over, trying to take out the Ying, but the Ying has backed over into the corner with Victor as well, trying to get the damage onto the enemy team, but is it enough?
Even if you don't have the depth that you're looking for, you can at the very least comment on the actual action.
You have to slow it down. You're going to lose the viewer. You're going to, confuse them.